Welcome back. We're here to look ahead to Sunday's Premier League match between Liverpool and Southampton. Barnes will start with the home side. Last time out, Jurgen Klopp's first game in charge. 0-0 draw at Tottenham Hotspur. This is his first game at Anfield, a big one.
Yeah, it is a big one. The one against Tottenham, it's not the worst result in the world. Tottenham probably went into that match as slight favourites, focusing on matters only on the pitch because their form have been good. Liverpool's have been a bit shaky, but obviously the whole pre-match thing was all about Jurgen Klopp's first game in charge, and there was an expectation Liverpool raised their game. In the end, it was a bit of an anticlimax. Origi hitting the bar was the closest Liverpool came to winning that match, and they relied on a couple of really good Semi Mignolet saves to prevent them from losing the match. So on the pitch, yeah, as I mentioned, a bit of an anticlimax, but you could see that the work Klopp had already been doing on the training ground. They pressed Tottenham really well. That's going to be a feature of their play under Klopp, I think. And obviously, as you mentioned, this is his first home game in charge, and it's going to be a big one. I think Anfield is going to be rocking for it. Everyone seems to be behind Klopp. There's a buzz about the club now that he's come in. And I think one thing about Klopp is he's a very likeable figure. I think the media are going to like him. No one's really got a bad word to say about him at the moment. He's eccentric. He's got the characteristics which endear him to the media. And further down the line, if he goes through a tough patch, which you'd expect he would, as all managers do, then that's going to help him. I think with Rodgers, there was comparisons to David Brent. People called him deluded. He was a bit of a comedy figure at times. Media made fun of him. People on social media made fun of him. But with Klopp, you can't see that happening to the same extent, which should be good for the club. It should help him in the hard times they have. But looking ahead to the immediate future, obviously that's hopefully not down the line, but it probably will be down the line. Looking ahead to the immediate future, Anfield is going to be rocking for this game. It's a big game, Jurgen Klopp's first home game in charge, and I think he'll be confident to come away with all 3 points.
I think they should be, because I think that result against Spurs was a good one. Spurs in their last home game beat City 4-1, so that shows how good they've been at White Hart Lane recently. And I think, considering the side that he trotted out there, I think they did well to keep Spurs out. I mean, they didn't score, but you look at the injury list he had going into that game. Since being named manager, he lost Danny Ings, Joe Gomez, both to ACL injuries, probably both out for the rest of the year. I'm not sure. Ings had been in and out of the team, and Gomez started the season, but then he'd lost his place in recent weeks. So neither is a huge blow, but they're important squad players. And if the injuries keep stacking up like they have, they're probably going to be without Benteke, Firmino, Lovren for this one. Sturridge, he was expected to play against Spurs, but then Klopp didn't risk him. I don't think he thought maybe there was just a slight kneel, didn't risk him, so he should be coming back for this one. But certainly, the team Klopp's inherited, just as a squad, when you look at them, it is quite a strong squad, but the amount of players injured at the moment is making life quite difficult. And there's talk about maybe bringing back Lazar Markovic. He's on loan at Fenerbahce at the moment, which just shows that, because they obviously felt he wasn't needed at all this season, they've sent him out to Turkey. But if the way the injuries are going, they might need him back. And yeah, it's not been the easiest start for Klopp. The fixtures are difficult, and then he's got the injuries as well. But yeah, I think it was a positive start, I suppose.
I think the key things you mentioned there about the injuries was how many strikers there are involved. Because last season, the big problem was when Sturridge got injured, did Liverpool have the depth to deal with that? And with Lambert and Balotelli, you simply didn't. During the summer, you thought they'd invested heavily in that area of the field, and they do have good depth there. You didn't really foresee such a big injury crisis coming up front. To have Sturridge, Benteke and Ings out is pure bad luck for Liverpool. And with Origi as the fourth choice striker, you wouldn't have even had that last season, so that is a plus. And Origi, he showed signs, particularly in last summer's World Cup, where he actually became Belgium's first choice striker ahead of the likes of Benteke. So he's obviously got the quality, but ideal scenario, you would have Sturridge and Benteke fit there. They should provide good competition. So it hasn't been easy going for Klopp. Up front is the big problem this season. They've only scored 8 goals so far in the Premier League. Only 2 teams have conceded fewer. So that's the key area for him to improve. He will be helped by players coming back from injury. Sturridge, the key one of those. Benteke obviously also key. Ings, a big blow for him, but as you mentioned, him and Gomez, it could have been worse. 2 players being ruled out for the season, so it's not the biggest blow. Still is a blow, and it hurts the depth at left back and up front, but it could have been worse. For Klopp, though, it's a bit of a baptism of fire for him, because obviously he's had Tottenham in his first game, Southampton here, then he's got Chelsea away, Crystal Palace at home, and we know how good Palace are on the road, and then Manchester City away, so really tough start for him. If he can get through them with quite a few points, we'll start to know what he's made of.
I think they'll start this game. They'll probably view this as maybe the easiest game in that run. But Southampton, in their last away game, they went to Stamford Bridge, beat Chelsea 3-1. That was a great performance from them. That ended a 10-game winless away run dating back to February. So that was a really, really impressive win they got there. But then last week, after the international break, they host Leicester. 2-0 lead they take in the first half through those goals from the centre-backs, Fonte and Van Dijk. Fonte's header did that really well to direct that in the corner. The second one shouldn't have stood. It was offside, and then the ball came back off the post twice before Van Dijk finally hit it in. So they took a 2-goal lead there, and they must, Ronald Koeman must have said at half time, look at what Leicester have done. The rest of the season they've come back multiple times from 2-goal deficits like this, and they couldn't hold them out. He brought on Mahrez at half time, Ranieri, he made a difference, and then Vardy, the man in form, league's top goal scorer, he scored 2 goals. And Koeman said after the game, look, you have to hand it to Leicester. They did really well to come back, but when you're in that position, Southampton at home, beating Leicester 2-0, you have to see that result out. If you want to push, they're sitting 8th at the moment, Southampton, but if they want to push for a top 7 finish, they have to see those kind of games out.
They'll certainly see it as 2 points drop, won't they? Particularly going into this match, which, as you say, is not an easy game at all. Both sides level on 13 points going into this match. You'd expect both of them to push for the European places. Southampton, after last season, haven't quite hit those heights this time around so far, but you still expect them to be pushing the likes of Tottenham and Liverpool for those European places, and perhaps even pushing further up for the Champions League places, where that may be one step beyond them this season. Liverpool away is their toughest match in the next few games. Obviously, the one against Leicester they would have seen as a winnable one. They should have won that, but Anfield. But then they've got Bournemouth at home and Sunderland away. 2 teams have really struggled at the start of the season, so they may not. They'll be happy probably with a point from this match, thinking that in the next 2 games they should be taking maximum points really to help them move up the table.
So it's a huge game for Jurgen Klopp. Anfield debut for him. How do you think he'll get on?
I think he'll get on well. I can't really see Liverpool losing this one with the whole scenario around it. I expect Anfield to be a great place to be, really good atmosphere. The fans really getting behind the team like they haven't done for a while under Brendan Rodgers. So I can see Liverpool winning this one, probably 3-1.
3-1. I actually am going to back Southampton to get something out of the game. I think that I just think that Liverpool injury list is bad, and I think Southampton, the way they played against Chelsea in their last away game, I think they might just nick a point here and sort of rain on Klopp's parade. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. So I've got 1 Liverpool win and a draw. Thanks for joining us.